Well, with 180,000 miles, we have the notorious worn out alternator problem, intermittently providing charge or not. So, yep, you see that battery light flickering on and off. Now, there are a few different possible things that could be going on with this. One could be this alternator in the 2003 Jetta happens to be a clutched alternator. That's right, the motor will turn it on and on depending on, you know, honestly, I don't know why you would want the alternator to ever shut off. That makes no sense. Volkswagen engineers, what the heck, dude? That's not cool. Just put a steel pulley on it and call it a day, and let's let the alternator do its thing. Anyway, it could be the clutch has worn out. It could be with 180,000 miles that the voltage regulator has worn brushes and they're bouncing on the contacts. That's very common with this sort of mileage and wear. The other thing it could be is the exciter wire. Now that's not very common, but it is possible. So we're gonna pull the alternator, and I am going to take it to my good friends at Discount Battery and Electric here in San Diego and let them do the diagnosis for me, because they've been doing this for 40, 50 years, maybe even longer. This is a second generation of people that have owned this local family-owned shop. They've always done right by me. Been taking my cars to them for 25 years for alternator and starter rebuilds. So they're not sponsoring this in any way, shape, or form. I'm just supporting a local business. I love that they provide this service, and it's very, very reasonable for the cost for rebuilding your alternator or your starter, rather than buying one for several $100s or more. Often it's about 60 or 70 bucks to have them rebuild it. So let's go yank the alternator and see what they say. All right, so we have, I skipped ahead a little bit here. There are a lot of good videos about how to remove the Mark IV 1.8T alternator. It's fairly easy. Unlike some other jobs, you don't have to remove the whole front end. You do have to remove the throttle body in order to get to the alternator and release it down here. So I've taken out the alternator, taken it to our local shop, Discount Battery and Electric. They did a quick rebuild on this, verified that the clutched pulley is actually, he said it was pretty much brand new, which is nice to hear. And then all the innards of the alternator are good. It had a bad voltage regulator, so they replaced that for 60 bucks. Did a cleanup on the whole thing, and it got a year warranty, so great. So we're gonna pop this back into the Jetta, and we should be off to the races. Oh, the other thing that I have to do though, because it was running intermittently and it wasn't charging the battery properly, rather than popping the new alternator and immediately start driving it, which would put a big load on the alternator, I'm going to charge the battery while we are working on the alternator, so that once we've got it together, everything should be up to full spec. The other thing that I've been working on the last couple of days here, just a little side project, our goth daughter, her Mini Cooper developed a miss, and we tested the coil. The coil ended up being fine. The spark plug was completely toast though, so we're gonna just go ahead and replace all 4 spark plugs in this Mini Cooper, and yeah, the coil is in great shape. We tested it by swapping it with another coil, and it's fine. So anyway, we're waiting on the spark plugs to be able to finish this and get that back up and running, but let's turn our attention back to the Jetta and get this done. Should be back up in maybe an hour. like that. Everything is back together, and let's check out our progress here. See how we are doing. No battery light. All right, so our alternator repair, it ended up being a bad voltage regulator. The rest of the alternator was fine. The clutched pulley was fine, and the exciter wire connection was fine. So everything else looked good in there, just voltage regulator took a dump. The guy who did the repair for me at Discount Battery and Electric here in San Diego said that it was a really cheap Chinese regulator. He put on an actual Bosch regulator for me, and it's doing fantastic, which is wonderful because we may need to evacuate. Yes, San Diego is on fire along with the rest of California, and right out in my neighborhood of Alpine, yeah, there's a big fire going on. So when we step outside the car and look up at the sky, these are not clouds. This is smoke. It is super smoky because of a massive out of control fire here. So this will be a quick update for today, but we're ready to evacuate, and we're, thanks to some friends who let us borrow their generator, we're also okay to stay here in case we have to do that. Anyway, hope you're staying safe. God bless. See you guys next week.